Hey, how's everybody doing today? So I've got a document here I wanted to show you all. This isn't the contracts necessarily, but this is part of the contracts. What this is the notice of the declaration of fee and fine schedule for violation or deprivation of the constitutionally secured rights. Um, so I'm going to show you this document here and go over it with you. Get this to focus. This is one of the copies that I had filed with the court. It doesn't really make a difference, but they're all the same. You can just see the stamp there from the court where they had accepted it. So you see there at the top, the notice, declaration of fee and fine schedule for violation or deprivation of the constitutionally secured rights of myself, Brandon Scott, from the family of Killerin, non-statutory American freeman, American national, pre-March 9th, 1933, private American national citizen. Citizenship status protected by Section 1 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution for the United States of America. Nunc pro tunc ab initio. It states here, know all men by these presents, including all officers, agents, and representatives, legislative, executive, and judicial of the United States, presently under military occupation, as well as all quote unquote persons defined in your Trading with the Enemy Act of October 6, 1917. Let's see, 50 USC at 5B, as amended by your Emergency Banking Relief Act of March 9, 1933, 12 USC, let's see, 95A, I believe, that I, Brandon Scott from the family Killerin, an essay in sui juris with intent and purpose upon my oath. 1. Do hereby declare that violations of my natural, unalienable, and inalienable rights will cost you and your office or offices the following amounts in Federal Reserve notes, being legal tender for all debts public and private, and in the United States, dollars, being in gold and silver coin, and or currency redeemable in gold and silver coin, being lawful money of the United States of America. Nunc pro tunc ab initio. Two. Further, I hereby declare that I am not dead or alieni juris or of unsound mind. I am not a ward of the state, a lunatic, or an incompetent. I am not an artificial person or a quasi-artificial person or a statutory public U.S. citizen, quote unquote, or a legal fiction, or merged with a legal fiction. 3. Further, I am a natural born American citizen, a living, breathing, flesh and blood man on the land with an eternal soul. Am of the age of majority, fully fit and capable of governing myself and to manage my private affairs, including my private estate, of which I am the beneficiary and true owner. Further, number 4, I am the real party in interest and therefore release you of your military duties and obligations. I'm sure you can see that there. Let's see. And obligations as guardians of my estate. My affidavit of status with exhibits clearly shows that I am not missing or an absentee, and therefore I release you of your duties and obligations as administrators. Number 5. Further, I am not deprived of any of my, number 5. Further, I am not deprived of my God given reasoning and understanding, and therefore I rescind our guardian executor administrator relationship. You have been released and discharged of your duties and obligations to give me your protective, paternal, patrimonial, military due process of law in any and all capacities, administrative as well as judicial. Further, I am not a person under the Trading with the Enemy Act, as amended by the Emergency Banking Relief Act, nor do I consent to being said person, plaintiff, defendant, or any title from anyone other than myself in any form whatsoever, be it public or private. Number 6. Further, I have knowledge and accepted the oaths of office for all officers and agents of the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government, federal and state, and local officials to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Said oaths are binding without any presumption that could justify the imposition of military due process of law and the denial of civilian due process of law secured by the Constitution. And these are the schedules for the fines and the fees. Number 1, trespassing on, searching, or using my private trust, personal, or private property, including but not limited to any derivation of the name which is my beneficial trust property, including but not limited to Brandon Killeran, Brandon Scott Killeran, or any other derivation of said trust name. The fine for that violation is $10 million. Number 2, denial of due civilian due process each event, $10 million. Number 3, harassment by phone, mail, email, or in person, $10 million. Number 4, intimidation or threatening to harm my rights, $10 million. Number 5, assaulting, touching, grabbing, or searching, $10 million. Number 6, arresting, handcuffing, tying, or zip tying, $10 million. Number 7, confiscating, damaging my private property. That's a key one right there. Number 7, $10 million. You might want to pay attention to this, Don Mason. Number 8, beating or assaulting when on ground, $10 million. Number 9, forced interrogation, verbal abuse, $10 million. Number 10, forced breathalyzer or false arrest, $10 million. Number 11, incarceration, false detainment, $10 million. Forced injections, vaccinations, implants, $10 million. Number 13, taking blood and or bodily fluid samples, $10 million. Number 14, taking DNA samples or skin puncture, $10 million. Number 15, using, capturing, or selling my image, $10 million. Number 16, trespassing on private trust property, $10 million. Number 17, confiscating, damaging private trust property. That's another one you should pay attention to, Donald Mason, $10 million. Number 18, and again, breach of trust, $10 million. Okay, number 19, electroshock, frequency, or taser assault, $10 million. Number 20, laser, sound, or directed energy weapon assault, $10 million. Number 21, microwave, X-ray, MRI assault, $10 million. Number 22, C-scan, radar transmission assault, $10 million. Number 23, nuclear or biological attack, with or without intent, $10 million. Keep in mind on that one, when I was standing in raw sewage in the Muskingum County Jail, that is considered a biological attack. Number 24, poisoning with or without intent, $10 million. Number 25, torturing or threatening to torture, $10 million. 26, Fingerprinting or scan, $10 million. Did that in the city and the county. Let's see. 27. Eye retina or facial recognition scan, $10 million. Number 28. Using, storing, selling private or personal identity, $10 million. And number 29. Gun confiscation. Here's another one. $10 million. And number 30. Any other personal trust right violation, $10 million, for a grand total for all 30 violations of $300 million. Now, you can see here I wrote a maximum. Equity regards as done that which ought to have been done. So, I had this document notarized, signed, and sent to Donald Mason and to all of these traders who think that they're above the law. And they've accepted this. Donald Mason has, Tony Corey, let's see, I'm trying to think who, Doug Murray, and I thought there was one more I sent it out to you. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. There's 4 total. So, this is what I sent with the original contract that these people have defaulted on, that I have the return receipt signature card of acceptance for the contract. And once they accepted the mailing, I gave them a time frame to respond. And I explained in the contract that if they did not respond in that time frame, that it would be their tacit approval by acquiescence, or acquiescence by silence would be their tacit approval, tacit agreement to the terms and conditions within the contract. Now, again, as I stated, this is the fee and fine schedule regarding the violations outlined in that contract and for any future violations at the time. Now, this is before this most recent situation where the Muskingum County got involved, as well as Ohio State got involved, or the quote-unquote state of Ohio in all capital letters, because Michael T. Hughes was representing the quote-unquote state of Ohio in all capital letters, a fictitious entity. Michael T. Hughes was speaking on behalf of a imaginary person. So just let that sink in for a moment. There is no quote-unquote state of Ohio person. There is no person named the state of Ohio that could come into the courtroom and speak for itself. So Michael T. Hughes played a game where he spoke on behalf of an imaginary friend called the quote-unquote state of Ohio and made up false allegations and false accusations and dragged me through a whole entire process that deprived me of rights, due process, and so forth and so on. So, as you've seen, the last several postings there, I've been recording notices to Donald Mason regarding some stolen property that was taken from my estate during the course of these fraudulent actions, where these incompetent public servants came to this property and threatened my life, stole my property, abducted me, threw me in a cage because they didn't want to do their job. So I just want you to I want to let that sink in for a second. I want you to think about that for a moment. Now, I showed you the document that David Tarbert had sent, where basically stating that like he's some kind of nice guy giving me a warning and blah, 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 essentially covering up for his malfeasance and making excuses for their shortcomings, or for his shortcomings, I should say, because of his failure to act. He had a duty to act. According to Ohio Revised Code, it required him to address the noise issues, unless there was someone else designated, but it specifically referred to the law director in the Ohio Revised Code. Specifically, Ohio Revised Code 3767, it refers to the law director, the chief of police, public safety director, or whomever else may be designated to move forward with actions, creating sanctions against companies that are creating disturbances or noise issues. It breaks down a little bit on the process there in Ohio Revised Code 3767, but more importantly, in Ohio Revised Code 715.49, sections A and B, it says specifically that it is the municipality's responsibility to address noise and disturbance issues, even when they are coming from the county outside the incorporated area. I don't remember the exact terminology off the top of my head, what it says in the code, but you can read it yourself. Look it up and read it. This is what these people are doing. They are throwing off their responsibilities, acting like they have more rights than I do, simply because they're a public servant. And in fact, if you go back and listen to the conversation that I had with Sergeant Padnod, he, even though he's incompetent, he at least knew that when he and these other people chose to become public servants, they relinquished their rights. See, they actually have less rights than I do, or than we do. We're the people. See, they have less rights than we do. But they've perverted this whole system and this whole situation to where they act like they have more rights than we do. They are protected by the courts. They're protected by their nepotistic buddies like Michael T. Hughes that refuse to file charges against these criminals because they wear a badge and a uniform, and frankly, because why would he bite the hand that feeds him? These criminals in uniforms with badges on their chests run around and create these fraudulent cases and charges, and they create the fraudulent charges, which lead to fraudulent cases, all in a manner to profit from it. Playing on people's ignorance, using fear and terror to harass and intimidate people into compliance. This is terrorism. In fact, this is domestic terrorism. This has never been authorized for a paramilitary group to run around killing people, threatening people, stealing their properties, and so on and so forth. There are contracts already in place, charters such as the Constitution, which doesn't grant me rights. It secures my rights because it identifies some rights in there that of my rights that are God-given. Because see, God gives me my rights, not a piece of paper. But in this piece of paper, or in this document, it validates my God-given rights. And what it also does is it tells these public servants what their limitations are. No matter what branch of the government they're in, it tells them what their limitations are. And if any of you would go read the Constitution, you would realize, for example, child support. Now, thankfully, I don't have to deal with any of that kind of stuff, but just for a prime example, child support. Child support is a civil matter. It's a civil debt. Now, according to the Constitution, we're not to be jailed for debts or imprisoned for debts. It says it clearly. But yet here we have state governments that are, and local governments that are jailing people, that are putting people in jail and prison for not paying child support. How is that? How does a civil matter become a criminal matter? Well, they pervert it. They turn it into that because, well, they don't care. They don't follow any rules or standards. They just want to do whatever they have to do to profit, to make money. And if that means destroying people's lives and turning their lives upside down, well, they don't give a damn. They've made that very clear. if any of you have had any kind of experience with any kind of law enforcement, unless you're just a complete slave and drinking the Kool-Aid and you think that it's all fine and dandy, for those of you that may have a bit of a ability to think for yourself and realize that the way that these public servants act is extremely draconian, it's extremely oppressive, uh, and it goes against the foundations of our country. So, with all that being said, I wanted to show this fee and fine schedule for the record for all of you all to take a look at. Um, and as you saw there in some of those particular line items, several actually pertain to the property that was stolen from me that I've been attempting to address with Donald Mason. But Donald Mason apparently has complete disregard for my rights, for my property, for my estate, I should say. Let me rephrase that, for my estate and the property therein. He has complete disregard for that. He is so incompetent that in roughly a week, he couldn't even find out what the status of the property was, whether the police department had it or not, whether they sold it to somebody illegally or gave it to somebody, destroyed it, whatever. He didn't bother reaching out whatsoever. So that tells me that he thinks he's above the law, that he thinks that there's going to be no repercussions for his actions, and that he thinks that this is just going to blow over. Well, you can think that all you want, but if you're listening, if any of you are listening, it's only a matter of time, and because of this extreme malfeasance, and now we have conspiracy to commit theft of trust property by Donald Mason, which it's really unfortunate. I gave him ample opportunity to respond. He could have simply sent an email stating, "Oh, hey, yeah, the property is still at the police department." That's really all he had to reach out and let me know. At the very least, that's at the very least that's what I was asking for. Is for him to do his due diligence and figure out what the hell's going on, because apparently he can't control his employees. He has no idea what they're doing. They are violating laws and rights with complete disregard. And for a while there, I considered Donald Mason to potentially be an honorable man. But now, after this whole thing has transpired, I see now that he is not an honorable man. He likes to think that he is, but he's not. Because he hides from the truth. He hides from reality. When posed with a challenge, he cowers and he doesn't respond. So, with that tacit approval, with that acquiescence by silence, I will be forwarding the documents to my trustee, and they will do what they need to do to create whatever they have to, whether it be liens or whatever else they deem necessary, they will create. And make no mistake about it, this trustee, well, let me put it this way, this trustee will stop at nothing. They will take everything they own. And they will like it because you don't mess around with my trustee. So with all that being said, I hope all of you, pick up some of these documents, the Constitution, maybe some of the Ohio Revised Codes, look them up, read them for yourselves. Stop being a slave. Stop expecting someone else to tell you what your rights are. Stop expecting someone else to tell you what you're allowed and what you're not allowed to do. If you're an adult, you know right from wrong, like I do, then you have the ability to hold these people accountable if they act malfeasant in office. So, with that being said, I hope you all, keep your heads up. Hopefully we'll get through all of this nonsense and chaos, and hopefully these people at some point will be held accountable for their crimes. If not, then that's okay too. There's other ways around that. If they don't learn by being held accountable for their crimes, then they'll have everything stripped from them. They'll have everything they own taken from them, and be left destitute. And then they can then they can take the time necessary to think about what they've done, think about why it is that they lost everything that they own, and then maybe, just maybe, God will reveal to you the truth, and you can realize what you've done. And then maybe you can begin to fix that and make that right once you come to that realization. But if not, it really doesn't make no difference to me, because I'm not going to wait around for that. So I've given these people plenty of opportunity, plenty of time, and ample opportunity to respond, to cooperate. See, they force compliance on me, whether I like it or not, whether I agree with it or not. They force their compliance because, well, if I don't, well, hell, they can just shoot and kill me, and it's not like they're going to be held accountable. But see, these people, when it goes the other direction, see, they think they're I don't know, better than me. They think that they're have more rights than I do. I'm afraid not. I am afraid not. You people will learn, one way or another. You will be put in your place, whether you like it or not. I already have your tacit agreement of committing treason. I already have agents of the city of Zanesville that, more specifically, Sergeant Padnob, admitting committing treason on the record. So these people are completely out of touch with reality. They need to be put in their place, and they need to be taught a lesson. And unfortunately, there's not more of you out there that are willing to stand up, be courageous, and learn a few things, educate yourself, and hold these people accountable. See, too many of you out there are just slaves and want to just go along to get along and just get it over with and done with as quickly as possible because, well, you just can't figure it out. You're not adult enough. You're not mature enough to handle your matters on your own. You have to have somebody else do it for you, like an attorney, like a bar-registered foreign agent that is actively working against the Constitution and other contracts and charters that bind these people. And so what you all have allowed them to do with your ignorance, and I'm in that as well, before I became aware of this whole situation and got involved and was forced to figure it out. See, those of you that have been cowards and allowed this to go on, see, you have empowered these people into thinking that they can do it. And because, look around you, men aren't men these days. They don't know how to stand up and act courageously with intelligence and wisdom. They're too busy sucking their thumbs and drinking Mountain Dew and playing video games. They don't want to be bothered by adult stuff. It really is a sad state of affairs. But, I, for one, I'm a man. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to tell these people what the deal is. And whether they like it or not, they're going to be held accountable. Whether or not they actually spend time in jail or prison, that's neither here nor there. But think of losing everything that you own and being completely destitute, especially for some of these people that have probably pretty nice houses, some nice cars, decent bank account, like nice little nest egg to sit on, for retirement, that sort of thing. Um, they've gathered this wealth through destroying people's lives and stripping people of their rights and, you know, dragging people through processes like I've been dragged through, stealing people's properties, probably selling that property for profit or trading it. I've heard that some of these agencies and departments um, will confiscate weapons so that way they can trade them for weapons that they can use to kill people. How about that? So they steal from me, they steal my ability to protect myself, so that way they can get more weapons to supposedly protect themselves. But I mean, let's be honest, most of these cops don't even really protect themselves. They shoot anything, I mean, they don't really need a reason anymore. Uh, I can't tell you how many officer involved shootings that I've watched the body cam footage of, or the in-car dash cam footage of shootings. I just saw one the other day. These public servants have complete disregard for our safety and our security and our health. Um, and this is just a prime example of it. So I'm not going to continue rambling, but I wanted to show you that document. Um, and also just mention that for the few of you in the comment section, I'm going to pray for you because I'll tell you, some of these comments, if I even see them, I mean, YouTube doesn't even send me notifications when comments are made because most of the comments are just ridiculous. I mean, the people that are making these comments have got to be just borderline retarded. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna pray for you people, because apparently, I don't know. I guess maybe you like your slavery. Um, Maybe it's Stockholm syndrome. I mean, hell, if I can even understand what the hell they're writing, because some of these people can't even put a literate sentence or group of words together to create a sentence that makes any sense. It's like they were never taught how to speak, how to write. Uh, and maybe it is. Maybe they dropped out in grade school and never even advanced to middle school. Uh, but regardless of what the situation is, it really is sad and it makes me laugh. But I mean, it really is sad that people are this just dumb. That leave comments that are you can tell they're just triggered. They're triggered by the fact that I am a man that's courageous enough to stand up for my rights, for myself, and push back. And I don't give a damn what any of you all think. I would like to hope that you all would pay attention and learn some of these things. Read some of these documents. Read some of these source documents that I'm referring to: the Constitution, the Ohio Revised Code, your state constitution. Whether you're in Ohio or a different state, every state has their own constitution. Read these documents. Break them apart and read them and know them, because this is what these public servants are using against you. Your lack of knowledge. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know where your rights come from, they'll tell you who you are, and they'll tell you what your rights are. And I mean, hell, even if you know, they'll beat you into submission. They'll make you sleep deprived and put you in so much pain that you lose track of what's going on because of the effects of sleep deprivation, as well as severe pain. Um, that's what these people do. It's all about compliance. This type of thing is straight out of Nazi Germany. Uh, or at least as we're told. Who knows what actually happened back then? Because hell, I wasn't alive back then. So, based on the stories, anyways, this is straight out of Nazi Germany. And these people think that it's okay. Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised considering that quite a few of the German scientists that came over from Germany at the end of World War II through Operation Paperclip just so happened to come to Ohio. Matter of fact, or as a matter of fact, many of them were stationed down at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And many of these scientists have been involved in mind control experiments such as MK Ultra and Project Pandora and other CIA and top secret programs at the time that they were experimenting on us, on the people. This goes back to the, if I remember correctly, into the 40s, 50s, 50s and 60s for sure. I'm not 100% sure if it went back into the 40s. But I mean, hell, if you go back and read the story about James Forrestal and what he went through, it really is eye-opening to see what that man went through, because if you learn about his story, you would learn about how he battled with the keeping this information secret from the people. And I think that's why he was killed. He was pushed out the window. I don't think he committed suicide, or if he did commit suicide, then it was because of the drugs that he was on, and he probably had no idea what he was doing, because they were experimenting with LSD back then, and apparently, according to the story, that was one of the drugs that he was given. So, I want you all to think about this, consider these things, and consider them for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Read the documents yourself. Read the source materials yourself. And if you don't want to, if you don't have the ability to, then I can't help you. But I will tell you one thing, and all of you all listening, if you're going to come at me and make some stupid comments and talk shit, or just act like an idiot, I don't have patience for that anymore. I used to kind of entertain it because I thought it was funny. But now I'm at the point that I've led the horse to the water hole. And it's up to the horse to drink. And if the horse doesn't want to drink, well, the horse can die. I don't care. For those of you out there that want to just act like idiots and assholes and make stupid comments, I really don't care if you learn anything from me. I gave you an opportunity. If you wanted to take that opportunity and crap all over it, then so be it. You'll be blocked, and you can go on about your business, and at some point in time, you're going to find that these tyrants will be knocking at your door, and you will have no idea what the hell to do. You will probably comply, and, I mean, who knows what might happen to you because of your own ignorance. So, at this point, it doesn't matter to me. I am here in this journey mostly for myself, to learn these things for myself and to know these things for myself. If I can impart some of this information, some of this knowledge and wisdom onto you all, then so be it. I'm willing to do that to make it more worthwhile to go through this and to hopefully be able to help some of you all. But if some of you all don't want to take the opportunity, if some of you all want to just act like idiots and children, well, that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions and that sort of thing. But you just won't do it here because I'm not going to entertain it any longer. So I've already begun, but I've from this point forward, certainly, when people want to act out of line and make stupid, snide comments, unproductive comments when they want to act like children, well, you'll just get blocked because I don't have the time to entertain these idiots any longer. And frankly, it's a distraction for many of you all that really want to learn, that are paying attention to this, that so that way you might be able to pick up some information and knowledge and truth for yourself, and be able to protect yourself and your property, your estate. So yeah, I mean, from here on out, I'm not going to entertain it any longer. It's a waste of my time. It's counterproductive. It's counterintuitive, and there's just no need for it. So yeah, if you find yourself getting blocked, now you know why. But God bless you all. Hope you all have a good day. Uh, you know, I would say stay safe out there, but sometimes we have to get out of our safe bubble to really make something happen. We have to step outside of our comfort zone before we can actually have an effect in not only in our lives but in society. And so I encourage you all to find the courage to stand up, be men and women, and stop allowing this tyranny to happen, and allowing these public servants to walk all over us and destroy everything. Because that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. And the most disturbing part is they don't realize that they're they're destroying it for themselves too. It's pure mental illness when these people have complete disregard for other people's safety, for other people's property, and run around like tyrants, stealing, killing, hurting, maiming, whatever, to people. So, yeah, again, you all owe it to yourself to know the truth and let the truth set you free.